Throughout Call of Duty's history, its shotguns have left their mark in many ways. Whether it's the powerful sound work of the World at War trench gun, the infamous range of the Model 1887, or even most recently the pre-patch 725 in Modern Warfare 2019. Many shotguns have come and gone, but one thing most can count on is the undeniable style of the Italian SPAS-12. In today's Evolution video, let's go through every incarnation of this iconic Call of Duty shotgun. As always, if you enjoyed the video, a like, subscribe, and even a share would do wonders, since we're still trying to branch out to more gaming franchises, and especially since YouTube isn't a fan of firearms talk to begin with. Anyways, let's get started. In 2009, Infinity Ward released a sequel to Call of Duty 4, which would go on to be regarded as one of the most important and famous multiplayer shooters ever released, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. While its campaign veered more into the Hollywood action movie route, the multiplayer took many of the systems that worked in Call of Duty 4 and expanded them to make the multiplayer experience bigger, more accessible, and deeper than ever before. In order to fill the standard pump-action shotgun role, Infinity Ward did something rather interesting. They replaced the W12000 with the SPAS-12, which is a weapon most games at the time used as an arsenal upgrade rather than the generic pump shotgun. Nevertheless, this strange design choice introduced the Italian firearm to millions of gamers when Modern Warfare 2 went on to smash sales records, and this shotgun was regarded as one of the best weapons in the game, if not the best shotgun in any Call of Duty ever. The weapon has a powerful presentation, with a sharp and powerful firing sound, a very realistically depicted muzzle flash with plenty of smoke and sparks, and with a great sprint animation. It's one of the most satisfying weapons in the game's arsenal. Despite the strong presentation though, there are some funny mistakes, such as how thin it is in-game, and the reload animation, which has the operator not holding down the breech release, which is modeled on the gun right there. These are more or less just nitpicks though, in an otherwise fantastic weapon. The SPAS-12 is an incredibly useful shotgun, with a tight spread and an incredibly long range, able to easily command any gunfight in close quarters. When the game first launched, the Model 1887 was the go-to shotgun for most people. But after a balancing patch, the SPAS-12 became the most powerful shotgun in the game, which is helped by the fact it's the first shotgun available to players. It can fit with a variety of optical attachments, courtesy of a custom Picatinny rail that the operator appears to have screwed onto the weapon, though it should be said that this shotgun doesn't really need any sights when the extended mag attachment suits the SPAS just fine. Whether you remember it from Sandy Ravage's iconic SPAS-12 Rampage videos, or using it yourself to control the matches in Team Deathmatch, the SPAS-12's first outing proved instantly popular, elevating this shotgun to legendary status within the Call of Duty community. Even now, over a decade later, its distinct firing sound still sends chills down many gamers' spines. Coming hot off the heels of the cult favorite World at War, Treyarch's first breakout Call of Duty game, Call of Duty Black Ops, would hit store shelves in 2010. Taking players back to the 1960s. Despite the setting, Treyarch made extremely liberal use of real-world authenticity, giving its Cold War soldiers a variety of weapons and attachments that wouldn't actually be seen until years after the events of the game, such as the FAMAS or AUG. This leads us to a weapon out of time, the Black Ops SPAS-12. In a turn of fate, Treyarch opted to use the weapon's semi-auto fire rate and fold the collapsible stock above the weapon, a look that this shotgun is most famous for. The weapon's reload still doesn't have the operator push down the breech release to reload shells, and the weapon is also pumped upon finishing a reload, which isn't what you do in semi-auto mode for the SPAS-12. Available at level 24 in the multiplayer, the SPAS-12 is a reliable weapon when paired with the steady aim perk to tighten up the spread. It's also worth noting that this weapon is the only shotgun in the game that is compatible with the sound suppressor, and interestingly enough, The sound suppressor has no downsides when using it. That's right, there's no range reduction, no damage reduction. The suppressor is an attachment with absolutely no reason not to use it. It keeps you off the radar when firing and allows you to move around the maps more sneakily. During development, a Dragon's Breath attachment was to be in the multiplayer, but that was cut for unknown reasons. It only now lives on in the campaign mission, The Defector. In the Zombies mode, the SPAS-12 fares a bit worse than its multiplayer counterpart. Available from the mystery box and sporting a shallow 40 shells until your shotgun is completely out of ammo. It's only really useful in the lower rounds until you get a hold of something better. When pack-a-punching the SPAS-12, it becomes the Spaz-12, a fully automatic shotgun with 24 rounds requiring only one shell to fully reload the entire shotgun. It's an incredibly powerful weapon for close quarters maps such as 5 and Shangri-La, but with only 3 spare reloads, the ammo can be burned through relatively fast. A lack of spare ammo is an issue that keeps a lot of Black Ops 1 zombie weapons from shining. Yet despite this, the Spaz-12 is still fondly remembered for its ability to just completely disintegrate zombies. The Black Ops SPAS-12 may not have fit the time period or even stacked up to its Modern Warfare 2 brother, but the sheer charisma of its folded stock and the ever-memorable Dragon's Breath portion of the campaign meant that this incarnation of the SPAS stuck with gamers for years to come. Modern Warfare 3 was the finale to the trilogy that defined the Xbox 360 and PS3 era of the Call of Duty franchise. It sported a newer, more powerful version of Infinity Ward's engine, but also quite notoriously used aggressive optimization to get the engine running at 60 frames per second on the growingly dated generation of consoles. This brings us to the Modern Warfare 3 SPAS-12. When looking at the models that Rin was able to rip from the games, the Modern Warfare 3 SPAS has more detail in some areas and less detail in others, such as the charging handle of the weapon being hilariously removed and replaced with a 2D texture of the handle. Speaking of textures, the whole model is expertly textured, and for those areas that were downgraded for performance reasons, the artists did an excellent job giving the textures and materials enough life to disguise those downgrades. You'd probably never know that modifications and downgrades were made to the model unless it was directly pointed out to you. On the side of the SPAS-12 in Modern Warfare 3, you can also see a serial number ID. This was an Infinity Ward artist giving one of his buddies, Jim, a shout out in the game. Isn't that cool? The sound work was also updated, giving the weapon more of a boomy bass to its shots. The sprinting for all shotguns in Modern Warfare 3 were also changed to something that does look rather funny in first person and absolutely hilarious in third person. If you ever want a good laugh, look up at the sky in Modern Warfare 3 with a shotgun and just start sprinting. There's many YouTube compilations of people trolling online lobbies doing this. Shotguns themselves also saw a massive change to their role in Modern Warfare 3, being shifted back to the primary gun slot. The Overkill perk does thankfully allow players to use primaries in a secondary slot, but that's not really advised with shotguns. You see, shotguns saw a pretty dramatic nerf across the board in Modern Warfare 3. Classics such as the Model 1887 were mere shadows of their former selves. And sadly, the SPAS-12 also rarely saw use in this game due to it just not being able to compete against those running SMGs. It's not unusable by any means, and those who do choose to run it are often incredibly skilled players. Stay frosty if you want to use this weapon online. It's not the version you remember from Modern Warfare 2. The SPAS-12 makes a return in Treyarch's best-regarded title, Call of Duty Black Ops 2, although probably not in the way you'd expect, available exclusively in the campaign this time. It uses the exact same model from Black Ops 1, only with the stock unfolded. Unfortunately, Treyarch's artists didn't spend quite as much time as Infinity Ward's in masking the model's shortcomings, which when combined with the unfolded stock and firing sound that it swipes from the S12 shotgun, it leaves the SPAS-12 feeling a bit unloved and textureless. What's not textureless, at least, is its integration into the story of Black Ops 2. The SPAS-12 becomes a bit of a symbol for the game's villains. It's wielded by real-world dictator Manuel Noriega right before betraying the protagonists, and then used by the villain of the story to slaughter his way through a platoon of soldiers, and then finally used to torture Woods and Hudson in one of the game's most infamous scenes. The SPAS-12 doesn't feature in the Zombies mode nor the multiplayer, yet its very recognizable silhouette in the hands of characters during key moments in the story gives it an identity of its own in Black Ops 2, a sign of despair, of suffering. The SPAS-12 would be retired from the Call of Duty series for many years, skipping Call of Duty Ghosts, Advanced Warfare, and Treyarch's own Black Ops 3. But in 2016, Infinity Ward brought the SPAS-12 into the futuristic intergalactic battlefields of Call of Duty Infinite Warfare via a very clever method. Infinite Warfare has a series of classic weapons, which are all recreations of weapons that Infinity Ward holds in high regard. The M1 Garand, the UMP-45 are just some examples, and of course, the SPAS-12. The animations of the SPAS-12 in Infinite Warfare are lovingly recreated versions of its original Modern Warfare 2 animations, and the model itself is completely new, even down to the bizarre Picatinny rail that SPAS-12s do not have in real life. The name for the shotgun was changed to the S-Ravage, which is a shout out to Sandy Ravage, who I brought up earlier, best known for his SPAS-12 rampage clips in Modern Warfare 2. The S-Ravage is a fine weapon in Infinite Warfare's more advanced movement-focused gameplay, complementing the slide mechanic well to catch foes off guard. Things such as a laser sight and extended barrel can improve its effectiveness. It's not quite the powerhouse of the original Modern Warfare 2 incarnation, but it is much easier to use than the Modern Warfare 3 version. In the Zombies mode, the S-Ravage can be found in the Magic Wheel as a possible drop, and has the best damage per shot out of all the shotguns in Infinite Warfare Zombies. Due to the game's low aim assist, it can make the weapon hard to use for console players. That's why, when upgrading, it gains a massive boost to its ammo capacity and damage, becoming the Gremlin, which can sustain a player well into the round 20s. Infinite Warfare is a game that came out during a time when Call of Duty fans were burnt out on the treadmill of futuristic settings that the COD series got way too attached to. But in retrospect, it's a game that's looked back upon more fondly for its excellent art design, less serious and more gameplay-focused Zombies mode, and its fun, if a bit chaotic multiplayer. Paying tribute to one of Infinity Ward's best shotguns in this way was a very classy move from the developers during their low point. It's one that I respect. Infinite Warfare was pretty cool in hindsight. The more things change, the more they stay the same, which is what brings us back to where the SPAS-12 began. In March of 2020, Activision released a remake of Modern Warfare 2's campaign, weirdly choosing not to include the multiplayer or Spec Ops modes. The remake, like the Call of Duty 4 remaster, was made in the Sledgehammer branch of the Call of Duty engine. While being noticeably a step down from the 2019 graphical powerhouse Modern Warfare, the remake did exactly what it promised and made the classic campaign more palatable for modern audiences, though some changes were made to the animations of the game, and that proved a bit controversial. The SPAS-12 is one of the weapons in the campaign to see animation changes. The model itself is a faithful recreation of the original, even making sure to keep itself unrealistically thin. But the reload is now quite different. The operator will flip the weapon upside down to feed the new shells while holding down the breech release with his left hand. Is it more realistic? Oh, definitely. It corrects an over-decade-long error in the reload animation for this weapon. But it's not really in the spirit of the original animation, is it? Error or not, those animations were a part of the weapon's identity. Changing them so dramatically leads to the gun feeling quite different in players' hands. I guess it's up to the individual, though, if that's a positive or a negative difference. Black Ops Cold War is, at the time of writing, the latest Treyarch entry in the Call of Duty series. Building off the foundation Sledgehammer laid early in development, the game takes players back to the Cold War and reintroduces them to a very old friend. Despite weirdly renaming this iconic weapon to the Gallo SA12, Cold War's take on the Spaz-12 is an incredibly likable take on this classic shotgun, using satisfying and flashy animations that, even if a bit stiffer than something you'd see in 2019's Modern Warfare, still make the shotgun very fun to use. When running no attachments, it keeps the stock folded up as it was in the original Black Ops, but via the game's gunsmith system, you can lower the stock or even equip the Spaz-12 with its unique butt hook, which was designed for one-handed use in the real world. Yeah, that's what that hook was for, if you were ever curious. The Spaz-12 of Black Ops Cold War returns to a secondary weapon, which is designed to complement the game's buff to player health. While not quite as good as the game's Hewer 77, another real-world shotgun that Treyarch strangely renamed, the Spaz-12 does complement aggressive players. It should be noted, though, that due to the wide spread of its pellets and long reload time, you shouldn't rely on a single shot being enough to drop players. Sometimes it's best to fire off 3 or 4 shots before the enemy is dropped for good. In the Zombies mode, the Spaz-12 is one of the best weapons of the game. It can be equipped from spawn with any attachment you carry into the match, and when upgraded, it becomes the Hangman, a recreation of the Black Ops 1 Spaz-24 in function. It's fully automatic, has a significantly faster reload, and unlike its childishly named counterpart, has plenty of spare ammo and methods of restocking via ammo crates. The Spaz-12 in Cold War Zombies is without a doubt one of the best weapons of the mode, and a must-use weapon for those looking to get to high rounds. The Black Ops Cold War Spaz-12, while not retaining its iconic name, at least retains that iconic identity, the monster that it was known for in Black Ops 1. It's a fantastic iteration of the shotgun, and definitely worth running if you ever play the game. The Spaz-12 of Call of Duty is a memorable weapon, despite not being featured nearly as often as other franchise regulars like the M1911 handgun. It still hasn't stopped the Spaz from dropping in every few entries to say hi and remind us of the nostalgic glory days of Modern Warfare 2. What's your favorite incarnation of the Spaz-12? What weapons would you like to see me cover next? Currently on the docket, I've got the ray gun from Call of Duty's Zombies mode, I've got laser weaponry from the Fallout series, and of course, I've got some Halo goodness in the works. As always, a thank you to the channel members for letting me keep on keeping on, and a big thank you for sharing the videos and being so receptive to the channel branching out. It's definitely hard since YouTube doesn't like real-world firearms, as well as the fact that this isn't the usual Halo content, but people seem to be enjoying it. So, with that being said, I'll see you on the next video, and stay safe.